as you described, it is immediate, it is comprehensive, it is devastating. Kelly Weeby, 25-01143.
Good morning, Your Honor. Joe Schreeman on behalf of Ms. Weeby, who is present via Zoom. Ms. Weeby, can you state your name for the record, please?
Yes, Kelly Marie Weeby.
Your Honor, she should have 2 copies. Yes.
Bear with me 1 second, counsel.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah, there's probably. I've got a 1-for-1, but I only have 1 file. All right, today's date and time set for a pretrial. It looks like the offer is to plead to the disorderly with the dismissal of the inhalants ticket. Is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor. I did go over the offer with my client. She is willing to plead to the one case ending in 4342 for the disorderly, with the agreement that the case 4337 will be dismissed.
Okay, Ms. Weedy, please raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right, please put your hand down. Can you read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear and understand me?
Yes, I can.
Have you had a full chance to discuss this with your attorney?
Yes, I have.
And are you satisfied with your attorney's advice?
Yes, I am.
You're pleading guilty to disorderly conduct. That's a misdemeanor charge carrying with it a maximum possible fine, $500 plus costs and up to 93 days in jail, all at this court's discretion. Before you enter a plea, you should understand you have the right to represent yourself or be represented by an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you at public expense. You have the right to a trial, either by me or by a jury. At that trial, you'd have the right to confront, cross-examine, question all witnesses brought against you. You'd have the right to have the court subpoena witnesses on your behalf. You'd have the right to testify if you wanted to, remain silent if you wanted to, and no one could say anything about you remaining silent. As you appear before this court, you're presumed innocent of this charge, and your guilt has to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Ms. Weeby, do you understand that once you enter a plea, you give up all those rights that I just said that you have in a trial?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right, once you plead guilty, there'll be no trial. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
Has anyone promised you or threatened you in any way other than the reduction in charge?
No.
It's your own choice to do this?
Yes, it is.
All right, July 3rd of this year, 2025, were you in the city of Royal Oak?
Yes, I was.
Did you engage in disorderly conduct, that is disruptive behavior related to a level of intoxication that would constitute disturbing the peace?
Yes.
Okay, satisfied, Mr. Freeman?
I'm satisfied, Your Honor.
I too am satisfied the plea is knowing, voluntary, and accurate. I will accept the same. So, Ms. Weeby, it looks like that there was a stretch where you got involved with inhalants, and that's some really scary business. How did you even begin to get involved with that substance? How does that? I'm working hard to try to understand because it is such a devastating addiction. Like we have a pretty advanced sobriety court in our court, and we have a better rate of success in getting people off of heroin than we do off of the inhalants. How does something like that even start, Ms. Weeby? Where did this begin?
Yeah, Your Honor, it has devastated my life. Years ago, I had a problem with alcohol. I worked for Hour Magazine and Forbes Company, and I was always able to maintain my life pretty well. And jokingly, I had stopped alcohol on my own and done really well. And I was having a really hard time. And a friend of mine jokingly threw a can of air duster at me and was like, you should try this instead. We don't want you to go back to alcohol, joking. And literally I used it for a second and that was it. It took me to a place that I hadn't been, and I was unable to stop. It's stronger than any other substance I've ever tried in my life, and it's devastated my life in a very short period of time. So I'm remaining hopeful that I'm going to try a new that it's called Brixalti that's out on the market. It's supposed to help. It's similar to Suboxone. It's supposed to help with other drugs as well. So I'm hoping to try that and just get it out of my head.
I'm so grateful that you're willing to sort of walk me down that path and how it happens, because as you described, it is immediate, it is comprehensive, it is devastating. And we're starting to make some minimal progress, but when I have somebody who is right in the midst of it, they're a shell of themselves. There's an outer skeleton skin, all that stuff, but inside is hollow, and it is scary stuff. But the way in which you and are engaging with me right now tells me that the time that you've been separated from it has allowed some of Kelly maybe to come back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's appropriate because I haven't been able, I'm in mental health court in Port Huron, and I haven't really had the opportunity to talk to my judge about what happens when I do touch it, because it is so immediate that I can't describe to anyone that the second I touch that can and I inhale even a tiny bit of it, I'm in a frenzied state. Out of my body and mind, to where I will do anything to get that can back, right? And so I use it and it elevates my dopamine, because that's what it does. It elevates dopamine really fast. So you get the high or the rush from your dopamine, and then all of a sudden you can't control, you don't know what's going to happen, and you pass out, right? And then you do it in an area, on a public area, because you're so frenzied for it. So then people see you fall over, and then they call the police, and then the police are involved, and then I'm in jail, and then I'm fighting jail again, and then and it's this cycle that I just can't get out of, and it's really hard.
This movie, we had a 23-year-old in our sobriety court, and one of the issues is, and I think it's because the addiction is always tapping on the shoulder, is always saying, come along. And with this, it has the argument come along, you won't get in trouble because they can't test you for it. Because we don't have an effective test for that, because it's in and out of your system so fast. So I had a 23-year-old who, she was in the bathtub, she used, passed out, drowned. And it was absolutely devastating, because all of that promise, all of that potential was just gone in a moment. And then I had a person who was used while driving, passed out, ran into a pole, lived, all right? Then we get her into sobriety court. I have her on a tether, because that way we know she can't go anywhere, where she could buy it, be around it. She was good for a year, took the tether off, got behind the wheel of the car, ran into a pole again. Now, the second story that I just told you, she went into rehab. She, we kept her on a tether even longer this time. We made sure that she didn't have access to any of those things. She successfully completed it. She's still sober today. I had another person who did 2 years of probation, and she said the key was for her, because I asked her, how were we able to do this? She said, I have to go to a meeting every day. It's like brushing my teeth, eating food, drinking water, I have to go to a meeting every day. If I don't, and she goes, and I know that this is gonna be the way it is for the rest of my life, because even one little, if I leave the door open just even a little bit, it's just waiting. Now, I know that that might be a scary proposition. Wait, I have to, that sounds like a lot of work for the rest of my life. I guess my only argument to that, ma'am, is, are you worth it or not? Like, is your life worth it? And clearly your life is worth it. Your life is worth, an hour a day taking care of yourself, an hour a day where you connect, an hour a day where you are engaged in staying, sober and clean. I mean, you're worth that, right? I mean, otherwise, what's the point of all of this, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So, well, I appreciate the frank discussion about this, and, again, this type of information will only help me be better at my job and try to take on one of the most damaging, insidious, destructive foes that I've ever seen, and that is these inhalants. And it sounds to me like you're in the right headspace to take this on. Just no days off, no days off. You can't stop for a minute. There's going to be a sign that says, things are going well. I've got a year. I'm fine. I don't need, you cannot ever stop. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Your
All right.
Honor.
Mr. Sherman, anything else before the court imposes a sentence?
Your Honor, I would just note that she has been incarcerated since July 15th. She's been sentenced in Clinton Township to a rehab facility. It's a 30 to 90-day rehab facility at Harbor Light Rehab. It's a 6-month jail sentence suspended for completion of the rehab facility. So she is set to go to rehab. And as the court can see, she seems incredibly insightful into herself and into her usage. I think the time that she's spent incarcerated since July has really opened up her eyes. And she told me in the breakout room, if you don't mind me telling Ms. Wiebe, that she's excited for rehab and she recognizes that she needs rehab. And I think that tells tons. So I would ask the court to, give her credit for time served and order her to comply with the sentence of Clinton Township, specifically, that rehab facility. Otherwise, I have nothing else for the court. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Wiebe, anything else before the court imposes a sentence?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, it's the order of this court that you'll serve 48 days in jail with 48 days credit. I'll waive fines and costs. And the other case was dismissed, so you won't have any continuing obligations on this. But ma'am, and this is a big challenge too, because it's clear that Ms. Plea is very intelligent. She's very capable. She's a good communicator. But those are all skills that the addiction will hijack. So we always have that potential that she'll be able to go in front of a judge and tell a judge what they want to hear. And that's why it was so crucial today that the reason I asked those questions is I wanted to see sort of where you were at mentally, and you didn't sugarcoat it. You talked about it openly and honestly, and that's the way that it has to be. Don't run from it. All right, it is what it is. It's your reality. But this is where all of the greatest recovery stories start. All right, this is what the first chapter looks like. All right, good luck writing the rest of the story. I think it has a chance to be incredible. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good luck, Ms. Wiebe.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Hey, thanks for watching. Please do let us know in the comments what you thought of this video. If you'd like to support what we do here, the best way to do it is to pick up some of our merch. You can find it at courtroomfiles.com.